Welcome to Power Lunch Live. I'm Rhett Power, your host. It's good to be with you here on Thursday. Gosh, this week has gone by fast. Hope you're staying safe and healthy and working hard from wherever you're able to do that. The point of the Power Lunch is to have today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, people who are doing amazing work in the world that we can learn from. We can pick their brain. We can get all of their best stuff and take that and grow and be better at what we do. The fun part about the show is that it's live and that it can be interactive. The only way that happens, though, is if you ask your questions. If we're on LinkedIn Live, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and probably something else I'm missing. We do monitor those feeds during the program, and so when you ask your questions, we can ask those of our guests. Now, today, I'm excited. I've got a colleague, somebody I've gotten to know pretty well over the last few months, and today I've got Mitali Chopra. Mitali is, I think, a fascinating person. I'll say that to start with. She is one of the best coaches in the UK. She's been named the best coach for client results in 2017 and 2019. She's an action coach. She has the franchise. Is it in London, Mitali?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. And she's a colleague in Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches program. She's a fellow at the Institute of Coaching in McLean Hospital at Harvard University. She's got 20 years of strategy, sales, and marketing and operations and process experience and excellence. With the likes of Pricewaterhouse, Microsoft, GE, and GoDaddy. She has led strategy and planning teams and planning for over $1 billion in business, and has led P&L responsibilities. Had P&L responsibilities for multi-million-dollar businesses and helped scale teams from 12 to over 500 people. Mitali, welcome.
Thank you so much, Rhett. It's a pleasure to be on your show. It's an honor, actually.
Well, I every time we get a chance to talk, I enjoy it very much. So it's welcome. And, I wanted to have you on the program because, we are in unique times. We're going through COVID. We're going through probably what will be a worldwide recession of some sort. How severe that is, we don't know. In the U.S., we're going through racial and social issues, which I think we're probably feeling in other parts of the world now too. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of anxiety, I think probably is a good way to put it, with business owners and in entrepreneurship and with your clients, with my clients. Talk about what you're seeing out there, what people are feeling, what people are going through, and talk about that a little bit. Is it different now than it was a few months ago when you talk to clients?
That's an interesting perspective. In fact, to all those scenarios in the landscape, Rhett, I would also like to add the digital ecosystem, the kind of a era we are in, that the information flow is so fast and that everyone knows everything, and that is sometimes adds to the amplification of the situations and the crisis situations as well. Coming to what my clients and in general the market is feeling from my perspective, I think it's a mixed bag out there. I'm very closely working with my client set, and last 3 to 4 months have been definitely challenging times. But what I'm also seeing is that it's such a mixed bag that while there's anxiety, there is uncertainty, there's all these things which are happening due to multiple situations, and of course, the health crisis that we have. But there's also a huge range of opportunities in different sectors, which also the clients are looking at to kind of, respond with and strongly with. So it's a mixed bag. There's opportunities as well as uncertainty. It is person's choice and end of the day, which I feel is how to respond to a situation right now. A lot of businesses are repivoting and re-strategizing their whole 220 plans, which were made in January, are, of course, out of the window. And in fact, with my clients, we are doing it on a fortnightly basis, that we are looking at what the situation is and how we can go to market with more effective strategies.
That's amazing that you're doing it almost every couple of weeks, kind of re-looking at the strategy. And I mean, you wouldn't normally do that, and I think that that's really fascinating. I think almost necessary, isn't it? I think, I mean, in this environment, you really kind of have to evaluate your whole strategy every couple of weeks. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we all know is that we don't know anything. So you have to pivot, repivot, and re-strategize, and also respond accordingly. So I think it is required. It's not something which everyone is used to, but I think that's the need of the hour.
Are there, I mean, you're a coach, but you're also a business advisor. I mean, you have a breadth of knowledge and that can help businesses, not just in coaching. What are there new skills that you think that leaders have acquired or have needed to acquire over the last couple of months? Are there things that we as leaders need to be doing differently than we did just 3 months ago, 4 months ago?
Yeah, again, from my perspective and how we are looking at with the leaders I'm working with, there's definitely, I mean, it is new time. One of the area is this whole need of remote working, which has definitely thrown leaders in a new environment overall. Most of the technology companies that I'm working with have and had been working, so they have that experience of working remotely. It's not new to them. However, working 100% of the time with 100% of their employees and customers is absolutely new to them. So,
Right.
and not knowing that when things will go. So that itself puts them into a new area of managing people, which a lot of leaders are definitely finding their way and managing it through. And of course, there's a lot of technology support, but that human to human connect and that informal connect, I would say, which was possible earlier just in the office or in workspaces, is not now there. So that's definitely one thing which is challenging. The other thing is that it's a crisis which has hit the entire world. So all global companies are facing it across their regions, which otherwise would have been by region or some isolated regions which are facing any kind of crisis. The third angle is the whole health part of it. So they themselves, not only themselves, their work, fellow colleagues, but also their family members and friends. So there's this health crisis which is also playing on their mind. So just keeping that tenacity and addressing the situation of absolutely unknown situation has definitely thrown leaders in a in a in a in a territory which is very, very unknown, and especially the young leaders. A lot of young, high growing companies that I'm working with, where the leaders average age is around in their 30s or early 40s, they are facing it almost for the first time. So it is quite challenging. But as humans, I think we are quite adaptable. It is taking time, but most of them are adapting suitably well, I would say, to the situation.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling their way through it, and I think I agree with you. I think if you approach it as a leader with that sort of openness, right, and that understanding that you're going to make mistakes, but if you do it as a team and you do it in kind of in an open and transparently, I think people will understand if you make a misstep. But I think you can't not address the issues. You can't ignore the health concerns that people have. Do you think that, let's say we get a vaccine next year, or even sooner, we get therapeutics that really reduce the, and we talk about it on our weekly calls all the time. With Marshall, do you think that work is going to go back to what we were doing 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, or do you think that there are going to be some changes that people have seen that they can work remotely, that companies that are making shifts right now, those shifts might even be permanent? I mean, do you think that going to go back to some normal, or will things be changed really permanently?
Philosophically, Rhett, my belief is as a race, as a human being, as a species, we have never gone back. We've always evolved. So, and based on experiences and new things that come our way, I think we've always learned and evolved from there. So, this is, I think, in that whole evolution journey, this is a new set of information which has been coded now in terms of the threat of pandemics. And also, it can be anything like this, which is globally hit, and so that learning has gone in, and definitely the world is evolving, and so is everyone else to the new things, and I think that's what is required. So we would only evolve and find the new way of living. Some of them might be things which are carryover from the past, but a lot of things will be absolutely new, the way of working and interacting and communicating.
That seems like the engineer in you talking, that the coding of new.
That's how we get wired. Yes, and you might. That's my, the engineering talking. But that's how I look at the situation. One of the interesting things which is happening with the clients is like, if communication was a good thing and needed to have effective communication, I think it has just increased to the highest level at this point in time. So, yeah. So, and I keep telling my clients, over communication will not kill. So just have that connect really strongly with the team members, and things will get better in terms of just including them in the process of how do we navigate through this situation.
Are there, for you, what skills now to be a good coach and a good consultant or a good advisor, on kind of in the reverse from leadership and CEOs, what new skills do we need as coaches and advisors now through the pandemic? What kind of new things that we need to know, do you think?
Number one, I think we need to be not just empathetic, but kind of put ourselves in the shoes of a leader. They are a lot of things are different. So just looking it from that perspective, although for a consultant or a coach or an advisor, it's always like look it from a different perspective. But I think at this point, it is important to look at their perspective as well as one. Second, again, it's a collaborative effort. So whatever good practices can be brought in front so that the mistakes are lesser is important to bring. So we need to upskill ourselves faster than what is possible in the business world. And that's why, people like yourself and having that community of thought leaders with Marshall himself is a great source of upskilling faster and being there ready with best practices, best frameworks, best skills to be able to help leaders get through this better. Also, there are a lot of learnings from the past which might be similar, not exactly the same, but very similar, that can be now put forward and should be ready to help them. This is the time where a coach, a consultant, or advisor can be of maximum or highest effectiveness or use for any leader who is facing the crisis.
Yeah, I agree. This is not the first time we've hit a financial crisis or a recession, and so there are a lot of lessons learned. I mean, we just went through one 12 years ago that was pretty big. And so I think that there are a lot of people who can take lessons from that, and I think that's so true. I want to touch on something you just said that I think is really important and kind of was a good segue into one of my next questions, and that is what. For you, what is important to when you work with your clients? How do you help them? And I mean, what is your typical engagement look like? What are you helping them achieve? I mean, you've won the UK client for best results, coach of the year for best results for your clients, what is it you're helping them with typically?
Good question. So I'm helping them with what they want to be helped with. So, a
Okay.
leader would have a situation or a objective to be met. And here comes, and I play that role. So, some of my clients, let me give some examples. Some of the clients are looking at high growth. They're just looking at how can we double, triple our growth in next 2 to 3 years. So the
Mm,
whole focus initially is what kind of go to market strategies can be built, what kind of frameworks can be applied, can we look at the whole strategy, people and processes side of things to build a robust system which can help them meet that objective in next 2 to 3 years. So that's the forefront of it. Now when we start looking and dissecting and coming through it, so just application, just having a theoretical touch to it would not make it happen. Here you go, helping them in every area. So if it is about, to get this result, we want to upskill our people and develop our management layer or develop our leaders, then I go and help them there. The whole idea is to keep the big picture aligned with the founder, the leader, the CEO of the company, and then help them throughout in those core pillars to get those results. And for me, it's very, very important to have real measurable results so that
mhm.
the effectiveness of the engagement can be again, it might be, and you might say it's the engineering mind or the mathematical mind which is talking, but for me, measure and the outputs are very, very important, which can be clearly defined and not left for, was this good or not good. There's a clear, the needle has moved from X to Y in the right direction, and that's what we are up to. So my engagements would be typically to help them grow, which is right from strategy, processes, and people side of things. It can be leadership development, it can be overall growth, but looking at making systems and processes that can build real good foundations for the company. And I draw on different things. My toolkit has frameworks, strategies, proven strategies, and also my experiential knowledge from working with the best of the best, and doing it as well myself. So I have been in their shoes in my previous career span, and that really brings, and they draw on that experience a lot, and that really brings everything together. So it's a I would say it's a unique set of experiences, tools, frameworks in the toolkit, and I use my judgment, and that's where I come in. I use my judgment to pull which tool at what time and in which situation to help the leader get the results overall. And that's why personally, I don't look at coaching as a product. I look at coaching as a tool to get the result overall.
I love that you have almost, I mean, it's almost like you're saying, I mean, and you're saying that you can measure the ROI, you can measure the growth, you can and I think that that's what probably sets you apart from a lot of different consultants and a lot of other maybe even coaches, in the sense that you have a measurable result at the end of that work. And I would imagine that's why your business is really thriving, because people are shocked that they can see the tangible result at the end. And I think that's amazing. What so if I'm a prospective entrepreneur or business, and I asked you, why do I need a coach right now? I mean, I'm doing well, my business is okay, I've survived this COVID thing, and I'm growing, but I don't know why I need a coach. What would your answer be to that?
Good luck. No coach, Rhett. No one needs no one needs a coach. It's not about why do you need a coach. No, you don't need a coach. And I don't even ask them that. So I said, so what do you want to be? If survival was your objective and achieved it, then good. Well, that's it. But what's next? What's next?
Mm.
And usually they think about it. And if they say, I want to grow further, says, yeah, can you do that now, right? With the current resources and your current skill set? They say yes. Then I said, well done, good. Go ahead and do it. If they say, no, I don't know exactly how, I'm stuck. I've brought it. Everyone has a ceiling. Everyone. I have a coach too. Like I have a paid coach always, because I believe that to get to the next level and to develop, you need an external perspective, and you need the resources and the expertise to go on. Because in this, most of the thing in the world and any businesses I work with, they're not doing it the first time. Somebody somewhere has done it and made those mistakes. Why make the mistakes again when you can learn it from others, right? So they don't need the coaching. They need to understand what are they after, what are the kind of objectives. So we spend a lot of time in discussing what do they want in next 12 to 24 months. And those are all business discussions, whether it's growth, profitability improvement, productivity from team members. What are those blockers that is kind of coming in the way of business growth or their dream business overall? And once it is established that yes, that's where I can help them, is when we discuss the engagement overall. And like you said, for me it's a guaranteed ROI, because I feel business leaders are very, very sharp and smart, and for them, for making any investment, if it does not bring the return, like why would I invest? And I wouldn't, so why should anyone else do? So it's an investment that they do with me, and we have a clear objectives and clear measurable results defined right in the beginning, and we work towards it and we achieve it. Otherwise, it's a guaranteed thing. I don't get paid if I don't get the results. So my skin is in the game, and that makes it more exciting for me as well.
That was brilliant. I have to tell you that that was a brilliant answer. Not a fair question, but that was a very brilliant answer. Thank you.
Good.
What, from your experience and just your big, your business experience with a lot of these major companies, and just your overall experience in the market, what do you think the next couple of years looks like from a business perspective? I mean, you're a business owner, so what are you planning? What is your business outlook for the next couple of years, you think? And I know you were just talking about, you're looking at 2 weeks out, a fortnight out, but if you had to put on your glasses that looked into the future a little bit further, what would you see, you think?
So I'm a bit biased. I'm a hyper optimist. So for me, there's only opportunity and excitement. Like, even it doesn't mean that I'm not aware of the realities. Yes, there's a reality, and that is almost like constraints that you put in, and then you go and get that what you really want. So there are new set of constraints that are there, of course, yes. So which only means that some rules of the games have changed. So, but you have to still play the game, and it's showtime, like Marshall says. So I think there for a business, like, just helping businesses grow that business, there is massive opportunity. Everyone wants to grow. There's nobody who says I don't want to grow, and if they don't, there's a reason why they don't, and that's okay. Absolutely fine. Everyone has their own life goals overall. And to help them grow and go through that journey of growth is something which I set out to do as well. And I'm working with different partners and strategic partners who have portfolio companies, or they're going and setting up their own companies, and I'm kind of in touch with most of them. And so I can't, like, there's so much to do and so little the time. So I feel like there's a lot to be done, and overall, from my business perspective, kind of a thing. And in general, like you said, overall also the rules of the game have changed. Some of the scenarios have changed. Now, like always, and in most of the crisis situations, the companies, the businesses, the leaders who will adapt and pivot the fastest and the strongest will emerge the winners. Like, they will be the emerging winners. And that happens every time. There's nothing new, as how I look at it. You just have to be aware of what is happening and then find your own way around it. There is a lot of opportunities. Some of my businesses have actually grown times, 4 times in last 4 months because of the nature of the business they were in. So if you're in healthcare, if you're in
Yeah.
essential services work, they can't. There we are just thinking, okay, how do we just contain this growth and how can we hire faster, kind of a situation. So it's quite interesting. Whereas the retail, the travel, that portion, yes, they are badly hit as well. So they're also rethinking and seeing how they can survive and thrive later on.
Yeah. What? How do you? I mean, you're a business owner too, and you've got this really positive energy. How do you maintain that? I mean, you talked about you're this. I mean, you're an optimist, and how do you maintain that optimism? How do you maintain that? I mean, you clearly love what you do. What is it that drives you personally?
Hmm. Well, that's that we might get into a zone of philosophy and spirituality,
That's okay.
maybe.
That's okay.
But maybe just touch upon it. Just the fact that I'm alive in this time on this planet itself is a blessing. Like that's the biggest blessing, and we all come here with an expiry date which we don't know. So I just feel like there's so little time and there's so much to do. I can't afford to waste any time or do something which I don't like doing or feel miserable. Like for me, there is no time for it. Of course, there are moments when I am in that zone as well, but I'm able to come out of it faster just by this thing that there's so much you one is grateful for, of just being alive, healthy, normal, having all your body parts intact, like just a normal human
Yeah.
being and living a normal life itself is a blessing. And that with that comes a lot of opportunity that we can make use of and do about it. So honestly, I just can't feel like how can we miss on this opportunity. And that's why it just keeps me going. And the biggest thing, of course, for me is relationships of friends, family, this network, this community overall. I draw a lot of energy with people, and I learn a lot of things from people. And now in this environment, when I help businesses and leaders grow, and when I see a nice smile on their face, and when their life changes, it just gives me a sense of fulfillment, which is unparalleled. So it feels good.
Is that why you left? I mean, come on. You were working for Price Waterhouse, Microsoft, G. I mean, you've worked for some of the bigger companies, and probably would have been very successful financially and otherwise in that corporate environment. Why did you leave the corporate environment to come help smaller or medium-sized kind of enterprises grow? What was and startups grow? What was the motivation there? Because that's a big move. I mean, that's a big transition.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, it is absolutely. And I get that question a lot, especially from my colleagues and my ex-colleagues. Like, you had a great career, you were doing well, you were, the like the top talent, and you doing this. But how I look at it, Rhett, these are different platforms. Like I'm on a journey, I have a career path. And whether you're working in a large corporate, whether you're working on your own, whether you're working in partnership with someone, all these are different forms of work. As long as the work is exciting, meaningful, and is making a difference, and I'm getting that energy back from it, the platforms don't matter. And I was very fortunate that early in my career, I've been working with such powerhouses because these are companies which breed talent, like they develop you like how, so you learn a lot. And I think it was time to help uh, the the rest of the businesses or the small and medium sized businesses which sometimes lack that talent. And I think when you plug the right talent in the businesses, you can see the difference. So there are many things which are not out of the world which I do, but these are basic business building blocks which are required, and once you put that into a business, it tends to thrive and grow, and which is spectacular to see and feel good about it. So all that learning helps. Now, does it mean that one era has passed and I can't do that back? No, I'm absolutely open. Whatever platform is helping me achieve my next objective is there. So So it's always an open thing for me overall. Plus, where it triggered was I was working with Microsoft and in the small and medium business spaces. In GoDaddy, again, this was all about small and mid-sized businesses. And when I was working with those businesses in my other capacity, I found that you can't just sell technology to them. It will solve some part of it. But I was seeing some basics of business functions missing in their businesses. And I thought, this can be plugged and this can be done if I go out and help those businesses as well. So that was a trigger. I always wanted to do that. And I thought, if not now, then when? And it just worked out. So last 3-4 years have been really, really fulfilling and has been very interesting as well.
Do you think you're courageous?
Sorry?
Do you think of yourself as courageous?
Courageous. What do you think, Rhett? Coaching question. After hearing all this, I think I am courageous. Absolutely. I have the courage to kind of, think that, okay, I can leave something and try something new, just that risk-taking ability. Can I be better at it? I can definitely be much, much more better. I mean, on a scale of 10, I would rate my courage level at 7.
Okay.
I can be more courageous.
That might be one of the best answers I've ever gotten to that question. That's
Looks like I'm good. I'm on a roll. I'm giving you good answers today.
That was great. That was fantastic. So my last question is this: looking at everything that's happened in the last few months, what are you really excited about, kind of in the future? You've talked about it a little bit. What are you really excited about in the future, and what scares you, or maybe if it doesn't scare you, you're concerned about, kind of in the future, in the next few months?
In next few months.
Yeah, in the next year or so, what are you really concerned about?
Okay, I'll start with what I'm excited about is the kind of opportunities which are emerging because of this crisis. There are a lot of things which are happening right now, and I'm kind of evaluating them, which are really exciting opportunities overall. Because while I've done this so far and I'm happy about it, one thing which is a long-term objective is to do this or at a scale, like it requires not just few but hundreds and millions, and just the scale. I want to take that to a scale. So there are some opportunities which I'm evaluating, which I'm really excited about. What I'm scared about is scared or cautious about is the uncertainty of highest level right now. So like I said, we're looking at plans on a 2-weekly basis or fortnightly basis. So I don't know what is going to happen in October or September. There are only trends available. There's a best guesstimate kind of a scenario, but it is going to be a lot of uncertainty even going forward. It's just 3 months into this lockdown and COVID situation. Any good vaccine takes, and we know that for a fact, good 18 to 24 months till the time all clinical trials are done. And so, just taking stock of whether this health crisis will go away in every week or 2 weeks will not help, because we know it is here to stay. We just have to find our way to survive through this and be prepared for future ones as well. So this thing of what shape it will take, because the world changed in a couple of weeks' time to the highest orders. So we don't know what other changes are there. So that's something which kind of, I'm very cautious and scared about, because you never know. I'm very, because my parents are in other country, my, rest of my family is in another country. So just this travel, not being able to travel, and this whole disruption is something which I'm scared. Scared or cautious about, like what unfold into, what is more to see, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I understand that quite a bit. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rhett. I loved it.
Good. And thank you for spending some time with us here on Power Lunch Live. You can see next week's schedule at powerlunch.live, powerlunch.live, our website. Great lineup next week, and you can go to the site, and I'll let you do that. I won't spill the beans on who's going to be on next week. Please go to the site and check that out. And thank you for spending some time with us today here. Stay safe, stay healthy. If you're in the U.S., have a good holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.